Maxwell-Rader. My students call me Dr. R, Dr. Rader, and I teach psychology at the university. And we've had 3 winter storms, and it's been snowing lightly most of the afternoon. And I don't know about you, but when that happens, I want comfort food. And one of the things that I remember from my youth that was comfort food was meatloaf. Not the huge big pan that my mom used to make, but what I make are mini Italian meatloaves. I like them because they're inexpensive, they're really easy to put together. There are usually leftovers, which make great meatloaf sandwiches the next day. And it doesn't take as long to bake. So instead of the hour that the big loaf pans take, these only take about 30 minutes to do. So it's really kind of fun. And then they're so darn cute. So I wanted to share it with you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. You want to make sure that you have your hands washed. You want to make sure that you've got your oven preheated to 375. I've got my pan here that's already been sprayed with a canola spray. So now we just want to go ahead and put things together. And one of the things I mentioned was making sure that you wash your hands ahead of time. You should always do that, but maybe you've heard that clean hands are a cook's best friend. And so that may imply to you that I'm not going to be using the spoon the entire time when I'm mixing this up. All right, let's go ahead and get started. You need a pound of ground beef, or you can use ground turkey, you can use a plant-based, you could use pork, whatever you like. I'm using ground beef here, so a pound of that. And then there are several ingredients that you'll need, none of which are expensive. You'll need 3/4 of a cup of breadcrumbs. You can use any kind you want, even homemade. If you have some old bread and want to toast that. You need 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. I just use Walmart brand Parmesan cheese. Save the good stuff for something else. This is perfectly fine. And then you want to use 1/4 of a cup of diced onions. You can certainly do it like I have here. If you have some minced dried onions, you can reconstitute those and use that as well. That's just fine. So for convenience, I'd already had that completed. And then you want to add some of the spices, and then we'll get to the wet ingredients. So we need a teaspoon of salt. I like to use kosher salt. I think that it salts it really well, especially when it's cooking, makes it easier. I like to use garlic powder, so you want to use a teaspoon of garlic powder. And notice that I'm using my dry ingredients first before I get to the wet. And then a teaspoon of the Italian seasonings. And this is not anything fancy. You can even make your own if you want to do that. That'll take some time, like the summer and the drying them, etc. And then finally, some Worcestershire sauce. And you want a teaspoon of the Worcestershire sauce. That's not fun to say. There you go. Put that in. All right. And then it takes 1/2 cup of milk. I use almond milk. You can use soy or whatever you like. You're going to put that in. And then 2 eggs. And so I have the eggs here, and you're just going to lightly beat them with a fork. There we go. And then we'll put that in, just like that. And I'm going to start with the spoon to kind of begin to incorporate the ingredients, especially with the milk. So you want to get started doing this. You know, all the cooks on the cooking channel and Food Network and so forth, they always talk while they cook and they share little stories and so forth, but I'm usually cooking by myself or with my sous chef, Benjamin or Brexy or Pooches. So no stories here, but hope you guys are staying safe and enjoying our mini snow days as well. All right, so I have this fairly well combined here, and you can keep doing that if you want to, but I'm going to get my hands in here because, again, that's the best way to really put this all together. Okay. So I'm going to blend that in. Okay. All right, so it looks like that. It's nothing fancy. Okay, and once you have that, then I'm going to rinse off my hands here. And then I'm going to create some loaves. And again, these are mini loaves. So let me get my pan over here to put them on. Okay. And let me move some of these things out of the way so you can see what I'm doing as I do it. There we go. Okay, so you're just going to get in there and you're going to kind of eyeball it. You're just going to put it together until you get a nice loaf that is about that big. You can make them smaller or a little bit larger if you want. But again, they're mini loaves, so you want to keep them so that they're mini. Okay. I usually get about 6 or so out of this. And I might normally be making these kind of prettier and so forth, but I'm trying to stay within the time constraints. Although the beauty of editing will allow this to be edited if need be. I'm going to take a little bit of this. I think I've got a little bit too much there. Okay. Looking beautiful again. All right, and then the last one. Okay. There you go. You can kind of beautify those a little bit. They're around the same size. You can see there. All right, wash my hands again. All right, and then the next ingredient is ketchup. And you can use whatever your favorite kind of ketchup is, and hopefully it won't make disgusting noises. Oh, that's kind of fun, right? All right, and you're just gonna top it. I put a little bit there on top, and then I use a spatula. You could use a spoon, a knife, a pastry brush, whatever you want, until you get it looking nice on top. It's kind of like a little ketchup icing on it. All right, get that. Okay. So they look like that, if you can see. And then you're going to take some more of the Parmesan cheese and you're going to sprinkle it on top. Don't worry about if it's beautiful or not. Okay. And they look like that. And if you want to make them look prettier, you can put a little bit of Italian seasoning over top as well. And then all you're going to do is pop this in the oven for about 30 minutes, again at 375, and let them cook. You want to make sure that the juices are clear. That way you'll know that they're done. You can tap it. You can really tell if it's firm that it's done as well, and then you can take it out. That's it. Well, we'll come back after this is done so that you can see what it looks like. All right. Hi. So I've just pulled the mini Italian meatloaves from the oven. They look delicious. I have the mashed potatoes already, and then I also have some green beans and carrots that we're going to have with this as well. So easy, quick, inexpensive, and delicious. Great comfort food. Bon appetit.